Hi guys, good morning. How are you all?
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Raghav sir, for that nice intro. That was very sweet of you. So, my name is Nitin, and I've been teaching for 4 years now. All right. So, I'll be taking maths for you. And like he said, please ask as many questions as possible. There are only a few of you right now. So, grab all the individual attention you can. Okay. Hmm. So, and guys, I need to hear voices from your side. Okay. It shouldn't be a one sided monologue. All right. Okay. Please respond. Okay, guys.
Yes,
Hmm. Okay, few guys are responding. Srivatsan, Siddharth. What about the rest of you? Hmm. Where are you guys? All right, so one second. Just share the screen. Okay, so how many of you are trying to get through JEE mains next year? Writing JEE mains seriously, with all seriousness. Okay, first of all, am I audible to all of you?
yes, sir.
Yes, right. So if you're if you're taking JEE seriously, type I in the comments, like the chat box. I. The rest of you are here because your parents forced you to study, huh? What's the reason you're in this class? Tell me. Okay. Looks like most of you are into JE. So I hope 11th has been decent enough for you because we'll be doing it anyway. So the idea how we go about JE is simply there's one main way I know how to do this. NCRT is key here. NCRT book. Your textbook NCRT, you have to know it inside out. You have to solve all the problems at least twice. Okay, all the important problems at least. Okay, twice. Then after that, that's your base. Once you build a base, only you can go for JEE mains or advanced level. Your base should be strong, without which nothing will work. Okay, people in the waiting list. So how I would go about studying, I will tell you. So I'll start with that. How to keep your JEE preparation serious. Right. First, those who okay, all right. You should all know why you're doing JEE. Okay, it's not just to get into IIT. What will you do after getting into IIT? You should have a vision. Then only there'll be a meaning to why you're studying so much to get through this exam. Because every day you'll have to spend hours studying, like practicing. Okay, because once you practice more, you will get better speed. And that is the objective here. Right. So how to study? Okay, so when I used to study, I used to simply sit in front of the book, stare at it, write problems, and whatever problem I see in front of me, I just solve it, and that's it. I did my part, I go to sleep. That's it. That's not how you do it. Okay. I did it diligently, but that is not enough. Okay. What you should do first is let me just share the screen. Can you guys see the screen?
yes, sir.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. So you take one book. Hmm? Okay. This will be your. It's like a record book. Like what you will be doing in this is you will be logging everything here. Hmm? Like this book is there. You keep a record book, and in the index page. Okay. In the index page, you segregate by topic. Okay, so this is the index page. All right, so the first chapter will be set relation function. Okay, sets relation function. So topic wise, you segregate. You write an index page first. All right. And then what you do here is the remaining part. This is important. You will have to rate yourself with a pencil. Okay. Take a pencil and rate yourself out of 5. Give yourself a few stars. Like suppose you think you're very good at sets. Okay. Let's hope so. All right. So you give yourself 5 stars on sets. Relations. Suppose you think you're not that good, but you're okay at it. So you give yourself 3 stars. Okay. Because you haven't practiced enough, you'll give yourself 3 stars. So like this, you rate yourself for each and every chapter you study. Okay. Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once you do that, once you write the different topics and you start rating yourself, you have to start practicing them. You have this system ready with you. And then the rest of the book, you have to divide it based on these chapters. Okay. So rest of the book, you'll put 20 pages for sets, 30 pages for relations and functions, like that, and so on. You'll split it up. Okay. And then whenever you practice, okay, you will record, you'll log, what all will you log? You'll log all the mistakes you make. Okay. You'll write all the mistakes you make. Whenever you write a test and you get stuck in a question, suppose you saw a question from sets. You thought you were 5 out of 5. And when you solve, you realize you get stuck at a particular point. Remember, if you don't fix that then and there, later on, when you come across a similar question, you will make the same mistake again. The chance of you getting stuck at that same point is high. All right. So you are trying to nullify that. Okay. So whatever mistakes you make while solving, that you write it in that book. I told you, right? The index page and the remaining, the rest of the book is there, right? So you split it by the chapter, and in each chapter, you write the mistakes you've made. All right. And then when you study the chapter again, you will see parts that might not seem familiar to you at all, even though you know for a fact you studied it before. Okay. So those concepts, okay, it just means that those concepts are not solidified in your head yet. You have to go through them again. All right. So just keep a note of that concept. Write your mistakes, write those concepts in that book, in order of the topics. All right. When you do this continuously, day by day. So you did this one day. Next day, what do? You open this book. Whenever you're beginning math, you open this book. You go through the list of your ratings. Suppose you missed one question, right? So what do? That's why I said use a pencil. You rub 1 star out. Okay. So you are 4 out of 5 on sets. So you need to practice a little more. Once you're more confident, you can solve more. Give yourself the 5th star that time. Does this make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how you study analytically. You're not just blindly opening a book and waiting for something to happen. Like studying really doesn't happen that way. You will have to take, proactive effort and get to the top. Okay, and we are here to guide you through it. Is this clear? Will you try it with math? This method of studying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
you
sir.
have to be very analytical with this. All right. Now, once that is done, okay, so once you have a system set up, you'll have to start practicing with all your mind. Okay, so whenever you study math, you will be studying as if you are a mathematician. Whenever you do physics, you will study it as if you are a physicist. And chemistry, yeah, you know what. Okay. All right. So with that intention is how you have to study. It's very tough to repeat it every day, but that's why I said you should know why you're doing GE, what you will do in IIT once you get through. Okay, so that is a personal question of yours. So that you should have your own answer for it. Okay. Any answer is fine, but you should have a reason why you're doing this. All right, guys. Now, so I'll be teaching you math, and I want to prove to you that math is not as tough as it looks. A lot of people are scared of math, and that's because you see the people in the front row raise their hands and tell the answer in half the time of you reading the question. That's only by practice. You practice, you will get there. Okay. They have practiced little before you. That's why they are able to say that. Okay. So don't get scared of math. All questions, I'll be coming to you with problems, but don't worry. All the problems have solutions. Okay. I just want you to find out a way how to go about solving this. All right. So let's start with a simple question. What is 43 square? Like, don't calculate like this. Okay. There's a trick I want to tell you. So if you know any quick calculation, quickly tell me the answer. Don't do 43 into 43 and calculate. It will take too much time. How do you do 43 square?
40 plus 3 the whole square.
Sorry?
Sir, 1848.
Yeah, 43 square. Simple question I'm asking you. What is 43 square?
1849.
1849. Good, good. So, what is 41 square?
1681.
Exactly. How did we get there? The simple trick. All right. So, what I did here was I broke it down into two parts. Okay, let's look at 43 square again. I broke it down into two parts. Okay, the first what I did was I subtracted 43 from 50. And what did I get? 7. Okay, and then I squared it and put it here. Did you follow?
Yes,
Okay, I just subtracted it from 50. I squared it and put it there. Now, what about this part? How did I fill that up? I took 43 and subtracted 25 from it, and I got 18. Okay, and then that is how this 18 came here. Let's apply the same logic here. Okay, subtract 41 from 50, you get 9. Okay, you take the square and put it here. Are you following, guys?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, so what about the first part here? How do you get this?
41 minus 25.
Exactly. Okay. Now, how do you do this? Sorry, 56 square, 55 square is a simpler trick. All right. 56 square. How do you do that?
Sir,
Again,
do you subtract from
36.
100?
No, subtract from 50 only. Continue with 50. Don't worry, go for it. Okay. The same method works for 25 to 75. Okay, guys. The same method works for 25 to 75. We'll be trying to find out why it works. That's the point of this discussion. All right. So 56 square, what do? You subtract 50 from it, you get minus 6. Okay, that's what we did, right? 50 minus 56 square, and then we put it there. Okay, and then here, what do? You subtract 25 from this. What do you get here? 31.
31.
Exactly. So your answer is 3136. This is how you find any square like this quickly. All right. I'm sure some of you already knew this, right? Method. So, do you know why this works? So this, look, finding a square is something all of you have done before. Okay, in 9th standard, 10th standard, not all you've done this enough number of times. Okay, and you've learned this: a plus b, the whole square, is a square plus b square plus 2ab. You've learned this enough number of times. We are just applying this over there. That's the idea. So we make shortcuts by looking at this side, looking at this formula close enough. You've seen this since you were a child, but we are using it differently in different places, and that is how you become good at math. You have to apply the same concept in different places. All right. So if you take, we were at 40. We started with 41 square, right? So I will write this as 50 minus 9 the whole square. Okay. All right. So that becomes 50 square, which is, I'll just, this will become 50 square minus, okay, plus 2 into 50 into minus 9 plus minus 9 square All right, guys, are you getting this much? This is obvious.
Yes, sir.
But then, do you understand why we got 81 here? We'll break the problem down. We know the answer is, by our method, what is the answer? This should be 81. You subtract 50. And then you take 25 away from this. You will get 16 here, 1681. Why does this method work here so well? Like, why is this a faster version of this? A plus B the whole square. Why is that working like this? So, we'll find that out. 50 square is 2500. Okay. This one is what? Minus 9 into 100 plus 81. What is happening? The first two parts, because you did this 50 minus 9 the whole square. Okay. This is a 50 square. Okay. So that itself has a 10 in it. 50 has a 10 inside it. Okay. Like 10 into 5. That way. So when you do 50 square, it will definitely be a multiple of 100. Are you following? 50 square will definitely be a multiple of 100.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then here, you have a 2 into 50. 2AB. Okay. We use that very wisely here. That 50, when you multiply by 2, becomes another 100. Okay. So these two values are nothing but multiples of 100. Okay. I hope this much is clear. Now, when we add the last part, that residual part, right, that minus 9 square, when you add that to this, what do you get? You get the last two digits. Are you following why this works?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You will get the last two digits, 81. Okay. Guys, don't worry. This class will be very easy. We'll be starting JEE Math properly only when we start the topics. So right now, don't worry. This will be a pretty easy class. Just try to learn as much as possible, right? Yeah, try to grasp. Now, the next part. What did we do here? I did a 25 minus 9. Okay. So, 25 minus 9 is 16. And that is what is coming here. But what did we do? I took 41.
41 minus 2.
Okay.
I said 41
Also
minus
16. So this is another way of bringing 16 out. Okay. So my idea is, where was this? So 25 minus 9 is 16 here. So this is another way of bringing 16. Just that much. Like from the digits that we already have. 41 and 50. Okay. 41 and 25. Sorry. 41 and 25. You subtract them. You will get 16 here. Are you following this? Is this fairly easy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I will teach you what you can do from 75 to 125 whole square. Okay, let's go there. This method is clear, right? Let's try another question for namesake. 39 square. What do you get? Come on. 39 square. Come on, guys. What do you put here? You'll break it into two parts. Okay, what do you put in the two parts? You put? Guys, can you respond?
50 minus 39.
50 minus 39 the whole square. What does that become?
14, 121.
11 square, which is 121. And here, you subtract 40. You subtract 25 from 39. Okay, you get 14 here. What is the answer?
14,120.
14,121. Is that the case? No, it's not, because you know 40 square will be 1600 only. Okay, these are 4 digits, but here we have 5 digits. Why is that happening?
Sir, do we have to add 1 and 4?
Exactly, we carry it over. This one, right? I carry it over into 4. Basically, it becomes 1521. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is just a carryover. You take 2 digits from the first block. As in this block, you take 2 digits. Whatever remains, carry it over to the other side. All right, guys.
Yes, sir.
Right? This is easy only, I'm sure. Now, if we take 75 to 125, when things get serious, this is a homework from my side to you. But I'll tell you the method first. I'll tell you the shortcut. You will have to figure out why this works. Okay? This is a little task for the day. Right? So, 75 minus 125, sorry, 75 to 125, what are the squares? So, let's take 106 square. Okay. 106 square, what do we do? So what I do is first step is 106 minus 100 will be 6. Okay, guys? I take the 6 and add it to 106 itself. What will I get?
112.
112. Yeah, tell me. Were you asking any doubt?
No, sir. We said 100.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So 6 plus 106 becomes 112. I'm just telling you what the method is. Okay, rest is for you to deduce. Now, what is 6 square?
36.
36. What's your answer? That's it. Got it? I'll try again. We'll take another method. 107 square. What happens here? And 7 square. You have
114, 40.
and 7. Exactly. You take 7 and add it to this. 114. And then the remaining 2. What do you do? 7 square. 49. Done. That's your answer. Are you getting this, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then suppose you want to do 99 square. What do you do here? What will be the last 2 digits? Tell me that.
81.
No. So
1.
1.
Exactly. It's minus 1 square. Here it was plus 7 square. Here it was plus 6 square. Here it will be minus 1 square. Remember, you're subtracting from 100 first. Okay, this is key here, guys. You're subtracting from 100 first. Okay. Right. So once you subtract from 100, whatever you get, you square it and put it on that side. So that becomes 0, 1. Okay. All right. Now, what about the rest of it? 99 minus 100 is minus 1, right? What do we do with the 6? We add it to this previous number. So this minus 1, I add it to this 98. What does it become? 99.
98.
It becomes 98. Yeah, I just spoiled the answer, right, for you guys. So, all right. So 9801 becomes your answer here. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
You want to try another question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It'll be a simple question in this range only. Don't worry. Okay. So this will be, let's take 95 square. Okay, 95 square. What do you do here? Doesn't look like a 9 properly. Yeah. So you know your number here will be minus 5. Hello.
90, 25.
9025.
Yeah. So this becomes 25 and 9025. Okay. Do you know another trick for solving squares that end with 5? It's a very famous trick. Do you know it by any chance? Like, it's a simple trick also. Don't worry if you don't know it. You'll learn it like this. Okay. So whenever you see 35 square, 25 square, 155 square, how do we solve all this? All right. So 35 square. So whenever you see anything that ends with 5 square, okay. So you will be basically writing as 30 plus 5 the whole square or something. Okay. So this is a multiple of, wait, let this be 35 square. What we do is simply 3 is there, right? 3 into 3 plus 1. What is that? 4. Okay. 3 into 4 is how much? 12. All right. Anything that ends with 5, if you're squaring it, will always end with 25. Okay, 2 and 5. Any 5 square, like take 5 square, 25, 15 square, 225, 25 square, 625. All right, 35 square, 1225. Are you guys getting this? It will
Yes.
always end with 25. Okay, so what you can do here is apply the same logic will either, whatever I taught right now, like 50 minus 15 the whole square. Okay, so you will get 50 square, which is a multiple of 100, minus 2 into 50 into 15 is also a multiple of 100. And then you take off 15 square. Okay, 15 square also ends with what? 25. Okay, so any 5 square, like anything that ends with 5, if you're squaring it, will always have the last 2 digits as 25. Just remember this. Okay, guys? Guys, did you sleep off? I know it's morning.
No, sir.
All right. So
Yes, sir.
it's 1225 here. So how did you get 12? You took this, you took the number next to it, 4, and you multiply both. What do you do here? This will end with 25. 25 square. What about here? This digit? You all know it's 625, okay? So how do you solve this?
Into
2
three,
into
sir.
2
Two.
into 2.
2 into 3. 2 into 3. Into the next number. Now, here, this will also end with 25. This looks much tougher. 155 square. But what are you doing here? What will you fill here? You will fill 15 into
16.
16. And that becomes 240. Okay. So it becomes 24025. So any square you guys can handle, right? From now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like in seconds you can handle, right? Okay. So yeah, that's about squares. So let's try set relation functions. Let's start with the idea of sets. Okay. Right. So what do you know about a set, guys? What's a set?
Collection of objects.
A collection of objects. Okay.
Collection of well-defined objects.
Nice. Very nice. Correct. A well-defined collection of objects. All right. So we're in the chapter sets. Again. Yeah. It's nothing but a well-defined collection of objects. All right. So these objects are nothing but the members or elements in the set. And the collection is it's also called as a class or an aggregate. And well-defined is very important here. All right. So if I say set of 5 fingers on my hand, is that a set?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's these 5 fingers. You can see it. All right. Now, the set of the 3 best. Okay, the set of 5 best singers in India. Set of
It's
5
not
best singers in
well-defined.
India. Is that a set?
It's not. No, sir. No.
No, sir.
Why is that not a set?
That depends on people's opinions.
Exactly.
Well-defined.
Your top 3 is not my top 3. Need not be my top 3. Okay. Understood? All right. Same for like nobody's top 3 can be the same. Like unless it's well defined. These are the particular elements that should be there in this set. It is not really a set. Following. All right. Now, I hope you can see the screen, right? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
So there's some basic notation here. So this capital A means set A. So we generally notate set by capital letter. And whatever is inside by small letters. All right. So this A is an element of A. Okay. So that's the notation. You will see this a lot. Okay. Next. In a set. 1 second. Okay. So I have a set here. 1, 2, 3. Set A. Set B. 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay. What is the difference between both these sets?
Two is repeated in set.
Come again. I didn't follow you. Sorry.
2 is repeated in set.
2 is repeated. But are they the same? Like the repetition does not matter here. Okay. So it should be distinct elements in the set. All right. So it's not like this does not become a set, but this is equivalent to writing 1, 2, 3 itself. It's the same thing. How much ever you repeat the elements, if you write 100 times inside this, it's still counted as 1, 2, 3 only. Okay. There's nothing wrong about this, but this is the apt way of representing it. All right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any doubt? Please ask. Please ask. Okay. My next question to you guys. A is there, C is there. What is the difference between both?
Nothing, sir. Just the order.
Nothing. Exactly. All right. The order does not matter. Okay, guys? So remember, this order does not matter. Repetition has no effect. Right. Now, the basic bunch of sets we learned. This all of you know, right? What is N? What is N?
Natural numbers.
Natural numbers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, etc. What is W? Whole numbers.
Whole number.
Okay, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. All right. Then I, set of all
Integers.
integers.
Integer.
So you take the negative version of W and W itself. Okay, you can put it that way. I actually don't do that. -1, 0, 1 this way and that way. All right. Q is the set of all rational numbers. What's a rational number, guys? What's a rational number?
So it is a number in a form P by Q, where Q is not equal to 0.
Okay.
P and
Well,
Q
P
not
and Q are both
open.
integers. Okay, don't forget. P and Q should be both integers and Q not equal to 0. Correct answer. All right. Well done. So P and Q are co-prime integers and Q is not equal to 0. You have a rational number. Yeah. And real numbers, you know, anything on that real number line. Okay. On this line will be the set of all real numbers. Do you know what C is? C?
Complex.
Complex numbers. Does anyone have a problem with complex numbers? Like, don't understand complex numbers? You know what complex numbers are?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
They have an imaginary component to them.
They'll have an imaginary component to it. Exactly. All right. It starts with I, and I is the root of -1. So this is where the imaginary numbers start from. Okay, it's based on the fact that you can't put any negative number inside the root form. Whatever that comes out of it will be from another dimension. Okay, and that is taken as imaginary numbers. All right. Now, representation of sets. There are two ways of representing a set. I'm sure you know all this. Okay, roster form is listing them out one by one. Set builder form is listing it in such a way that the property is enunciated there. Okay, the property is shown there. Like x such that x is equal to 2, and like here, I try to represent the same set in two different ways. This is a set of all odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. Here, it's the same thing in set builder form. Okay, guys. All right. So this is the same thing in set builder form. So it's not like there's a unique set builder form to every set. You can take one set and use set builder in many different ways to represent the same set. Okay. Roster happens only in one way because you're listing everything out properly in that set. Okay. But set builder form, it need not be unique. It can be in how many other ways possible. Okay. That really doesn't matter. Next, something you all know. What is cardinality? Number of elements in each set. All right. So this will have a few different notations in a way. This is not used much, but this is still used. Then over. Okay, so this is the Okay, cardinality. Now, type of sets. So you guys know what an empty set is?
No elements inside.
No elements, exactly. It's called phi, or you represent it this way. Okay. Both are the same. Okay, empty set. Right. So, okay. Next is singleton set. Singleton set is set with containing exactly one element. Is this a singleton set?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Think about it and then answer. Take it. Take good 10 seconds and answer. Get it. What do you think? What do you think?
Yes, sir, it is.
Srivatsan thinks it is a singleton set. Okay. Siddharth, what do you think it is?
I think it's a singleton set.
Sorry?
I think it is a singleton set.
Singleton set. Okay, okay. Sanjana?
It's a singleton set.
Singleton set. Harish, what do you think?
No, sir.
Rahul?
Sir, it's a singleton set.
Singleton set. Okay. All right. So singleton set is right. What is the single element here? What is the single element here? The element is
Null set.
exactly the element itself is the null set. Okay, this is the element inside. So these curly brackets represent a set. If you put nothing inside it, it becomes an empty set. Without the curly bracket, you can represent it like this. But when I do this, this is nothing but representing it this way. All right, it's a set, empty set inside a set. Okay. Now, what's a finite set? What's an infinite set? It's based on the cardinality. Okay, if the cardinality is finite, you have a finite set. Basically, number of elements is countable. It's finite. Like, even if it's zero, zero is also a finite set. Okay. Null set is a finite set. Right. Now, infinite set is a set of all real numbers, things like that. Okay, guys. You'll have infinite elements. Are you getting this, guys? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. Next comes equivalent sets and equal sets. What is equivalent sets? Equivalent set is when the number of elements are the same. Like you have two sets here. A, 1, 2, 3, and B, 4, 5, 6. These two are equivalent sets, okay? A and B here are equivalent sets. What are equal sets?
The elements are the same.
Exactly. Like what we did before, remember? 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 2, 3. Even if the repetition happens. Okay. Like 1, 2, 2, 3 actually has a cardinality of 3. Alright, that previous example I took here. 1, 2, 2, 3. This one has a cardinality of 3 only because of the repetition. Okay, it won't be counted. Okay, guys. So, in this, what can you say? A and C are equal sets. Okay. Any doubts here, guys? Please ask, okay? Like, I'm assuming all of you will be shy because it's the first class. I'm expecting more questions as we progress. But please don't hold yourself back just because it's the first class. All right? Please ask questions. Now, subset is B is a subset of A. Okay, what is a subset? What is a subset, guys? What is a subset? What happens with subset?
So one set is a part of a bigger set. So
Yes,
it's a
exactly.
subset of the bigger set.
When A is a subset of B, if A is fully a part of B. Yeah, like every element in A should definitely be inside B. Okay, then only you can say A. One second. A is a subset of B. Now, you might notice two symbols here. What is the difference between this and this? Like the first one and the second one?
Both A and B are equal. The
Hmm?
first is
Both A and B are?
equal.
Okay, both A and B can be equal. All right, it is subset or equal to. Okay, this means it is subset of B or A is equal to B. Now, what is that distinction? Okay, so when I say A is a subset of B, I'll have to draw B here first. And then A inside it. Now, suppose A is a balloon that expands and takes the form of B itself. Like this was B, and all the elements inside B are here. Okay. So then you're talking about A being equal to B. This is A being a proper subset of B. All right. Okay, guys. So this means it's a proper subset of B, which means B will have at least one element more than A. Do you understand?
Yes,
What
sir.
proper subset is? B should have at least one element more than A. Okay. Now here, B can be equal to A or A can be a subset of B in the first case. Here, B can never be equal to A. It will have at least one element more than A. Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So, okay, now every set is an improper subset of itself. A proper subset contains. Now that's fine. Okay. Now, if you have a set A equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay. A is equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2. What are the subsets possible? What are the subsets? A is equal to 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
So the set of all subsets is called the power set. Okay, remember this. So I'm just drawing the power set of A. All right. So what are the subsets here? One element is like this. 1. The next one will be 2. The next one will be 1, 2. Is there anything else?
Null set.
Null set.
You know this already. There'll be null set. Okay. So you have to understand that null set is the universal subset. Okay. Alright, guys.
Yes, sir.
Null
Yes.
set will be the universal subset. It will be a subset of everything. Now, all of you have done PNC before, right? Permutation combination.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and binomial theorem. Okay, cool. So you have two elements here. How many ways do you pick one element out of them? From 2, you pick 1. 2C1, right? That's what I'm talking about here. This 1 and this 2. You got two cases there, right? How many ways do you pick two items here? 2C2. Okay, and this is what picking 0 items. What does this come up to total? 2 power 2, right? Did you understand this connect? The permutation combination connect?
Yes, sir.
Anyone who's having trouble with this? Anybody has any doubt? Like, however silly it might sound, no problem. Just throw it at me. Okay. Maximum I'll do is make fun of you a little bit. Like, don't feel anything. All right. Just ask. Just ask blindly, whatever it is. Okay. So I hope all of you got this. Please ask, okay, if you didn't get this. So 2C1, 2C2, 2C0, you add them all up, you get 2 power 2. Binomial theorem also you must have done. Sum of all the coefficients, okay, will become 2 raised to m. All right. So that's the same logic why the power set will also have 2 power m elements. Okay. So here, total number of subsets of a set with cardinality m will be 2 power m. You all understand this? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any point you want me to discuss again? Till now, we've covered a little bit only, but still, anything to be covered? Like anything you want me to discuss again?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Thank you for answering though. Once again. So there's a question here. I'm trying to bring the question out. Okay, the set A is 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have to find the number of non-void subsets of A. Your task is to find the number of non-void subsets of A. All right. Okay, guys. So how do you do this? Non-void subsets of A. A is 1, 2, 3. So how many subsets are there in total? There'll be
2 power n.
2 power 3, which is 8. 8 subsets are there in total. Okay. Can you see the screen, guys? If I write here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have to find number of non-void, non-empty subsets of A. How many are there?
7.
7.
7. Okay. Number of proper subsets of A.
1.
Proper subsets. No. You're talking about null set, which is the universal subset, I think. Right. It's not 1. It's not 1. What are the number of proper subsets of A?
7. Sir, it's 7.
7 again.
Oh.
Because the improper subset I'm talking about is this. Okay, the one that is equal to it. Okay, guys? This subset is what you should remove. This is the improper subset. Okay? A itself. All right. Now, number of non-void proper subsets of A. How much is it?
6.
6.
6. Okay. Now, suppose the question was different. A has n elements in it. All right. You have to find the number of non-void, non-empty subsets of A. How would you do this?
2 power n minus 1.
2 power n minus 1. Okay. Second one? Number of proper subsets of A? Again, 2 power n minus 1. You just remove the full set, the set A itself. Okay. Here you remove the null set. The third one, what do? You remove
2.
both of
Minus
them.
2.
Okay. You got this?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Lovely. All right. Now, we discussed, right? The set of all the subsets is called the power set. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This power set, how many elements can it have? Power set. So suppose you are looking at A equal to 5. A is a null set and you want to find the power set of A. How will you draw that?
Another bracket, null set. Sir, set of null sets. Will be one element
Set
of
of null set. Lovely. Okay, exactly. Correct. Well done there. All right. Right. It's the set of null set. Correct. Yeah. So how many elements does it have? N is equal to
1.
1.
1. Okay. So I told you, right? Power set will have how many elements? 2 power m elements. So m here was 0 in our case because it was a null set. That's why we're getting 1 element. Are you all following?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
This is pretty easy topics only right now. Okay. So any doubts do you have till here? We'll be solving a little tougher question. That's it. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay. So okay. Now we have a question here. Just read the question. If A is a null set and B is equal to power set of power set of power set of A, which of the following are correct? Okay. We'll be solving this together now. Right. So guys, take a pen and paper, start solving. So till now, I don't think we needed a pen and paper much, but now, yes. But you will know what is happening. Why did I write the answer here? Wait. Are you able to proceed with the question? It's given that A is a null set. All right. And then you have to find the power set of A. What is the power set of A? We just discussed that right now. It will be a set
Set of
which contains a null set. All right. And then what is the power set of A? Just tell me how many elements will it have? How many elements will the power set of A have?
2.
Exactly. 2 raised to 1. Because this one's power set is what we're taking. Okay. 2. Correct. So what will the elements be? One is this element phi and then phi itself. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Now what do you have to find? P of A. All right. What do you do here? One is the universal subset phi. I put it as it is. Next is, guys, I need some responses. Yeah. Or you guys solve and then tell me, whichever.
Set of null set.
Set of null set. Okay.
Set of null set.
Set of
Set of null set. Aiva, nice. Okay, because this one is what we brought down, right? And then write this set as it is, the improper subset. Okay. So now we have, as we expected, we have 4. So when you solve such problems, right, there can be a confusion if you're not clear with the concept that what happens? The number of subsets might change. Why? It might not be 2 raised to n, because why? There'll be a phi, and if you bring another 5 in, if you bring another null set in, the total number can reduce. That doesn't happen. Okay, in case there's a confusion, take it out. All right, it will always be 2 raised to 2, 4. The number of elements in the power set of A. Okay. Okay. Now let's address this question. What are they saying? This is the set B. They're saying this is the set B. They're saying this is a subset of B. Is it a subset of B?
Sir, what does the first option say? What does the first option say?
No. I just wrote it. I wrote the same thing twice, basically. Okay. So I just used 2 different notations. One is the curly bracket, other is phi itself. In the question, just consider only one part. Okay, I'll just put the confusing part there. Okay, so just forget the right-hand side of this options. It just looks easier, that's all. That's why I put it there. Right. So here it just means the first option is nothing but what? This is a subset of B. Is it a subset of B?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes, sir.
Of course. Null set is a subset of anything. All right. Okay, even if it doesn't have an element, null set will be a subset of it. Okay. All right. Now, so this is check. Now, what about the next one? This is a subset of B, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Basically, you're talking about this is a subset of B, and that we see here. Okay, it's definitely an element. Next, over here. This is an element of B. Is it an element of B?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Okay. And this is an element of B. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It is. All right. So you got the idea, right? Subset is just like taking element out. Like 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 4 at a time, how much ever. Do you understand? Okay. Now, okay, next is something all of you already know. Universal set. What's the universal set? What's the universal set, guys?
A set of everything, including the set.
Exactly. Everything including?
The set that we're considering.
Exactly. Yeah. All the sets taken under consideration will be under universal set. All right. Now, you also know what a Venn diagram is. Did you know it was also called Venn-Euler diagram? It's called Venn-Euler diagram. Okay. It basically, you use a closed surface, like a circle is what we normally use, to represent elements. Okay. So suppose you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. You have these many items in your universal set. And then what I do is I draw a closed figure to represent numbers. To collect a bunch of numbers from this, bunch of elements from this. So like I create two sets here. One is A, one is B. A has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So this can be more neatly represented this way. If you remove the elements, it will look less cluttered and more beautiful, and then you have your Venn diagram. Okay. Now A is a subset of B. A and B are not equal sets and have some common elements. Okay, let's draw it. Let's draw it up. How does it look when A is a subset of B? How does it look? When A is a subset of B, you get A
Inside B.
inside B. Correct. That's it. When A and B are not equal sets but have some common elements, what are we talking about? Something like this. Okay, the one we drew before. All right. Then A and B have no elements in common. What do you do there?
Separate circles.
Exactly. What are these sets called when they have no elements in common?
Disjoint
Disjoint
set.
sets.
Disjoint sets. Okay, in probability, you must have learned something also. Mutually exclusive. Does it sound familiar?
Yes, sir.
All right. So all of that is the same idea. Okay, just disjoint. There's nothing common to both. Mutually exclusive. All right. So when A and B have no elements in common, they're like this. Okay, they're split. They're disjoint sets. Correctly, what you said. All right. Now comes some basic set operations. Union. What is union? Like union of A and B. Like how do you say it in words?
Both A and B.
Exact. Not in both A and B. In either A or B. Okay, that's the idea. Okay. All the elements that can be in A, it can be in B also. Okay. If you're saying both A and B, you're using this area alone. Okay. Are you following, guys? If you're saying A and B together, it is only this area. This is the AND operator. You can say it like that. This is the intersection operator. This is the OR operator. So it's either A or B. It can be both also. Not an issue. But if it's only in A, if it's only in B, that is also not a big issue. It's still counted. Okay, guys. You understood what union is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so A union B will cover A, it will cover B also. Okay, basically it means A will be a subset of A union B, B will be a subset of A union B. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the intersection of sets. All right. So this is what we just discussed. This is the and part. Okay. This is the or part. All right. So whenever you say union, think A or B. Whenever you say intersection, think A and B. Okay. Now, A intersection B will be X when X is an element of A and X is an element of B. Good for A and B. Now, all right. So this A intersection B will be common to both A and B, right? Right, guys? So this A intersection B will be a subset of A. It will also be a subset of B. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So it will be a subset of A, and at the same time, it will be a subset of B also. Okay. Now, what if you intersect A and null set? What do you get?
Null set.
Nothing will be common with null. Null set has no element to be common with A for it to come out as an answer. All right. There will be nothing there. You will get null set itself. Now, what if you intersect it with the universal set? You
A.
will get A, because universal set has all the elements. Okay, A has A's own elements, so it will combine with all the elements to give A alone. All right. Now, what is A union phi and A union universal set?
A and U.
Phi has nothing to add to A. So, or think of it as addition. Okay. All right. The or thing. You are taking A's elements as well as B's elements. You're shading all that area together. So you're taking A's elements as well as nothing. So you're just taking A. That's the idea. Now here, A union universal set. What do you get? Universal set. I hope this is self-explanatory. This part. Okay. Because universal set is everything. A will be only part of it. Yeah. So disjoint set we discussed. Difference of sets. Okay. What does difference of set look like? Difference of sets. So you have two sets here. Okay. A and B. How do you represent difference of sets? So A minus B is the difference between A and B. Now, how do you represent that? You just shade the area that belongs to A and does not belong to B. Okay. So it has to be A. Okay. At the same time, it has to be not in B. All right. Do you know what a complement is, guys? Complement. A naught.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So A naught is whatever is not in A. So when I say phi naught, phi dash, phi complement, what does it mean? We're talking about the universal set. Yeah, come again?
I said universal set.
Yeah, correct. What about universal set dash? Will become?
Null set.
Null set.
Null set. Okay, good. Okay. So this difference part, remember, okay. A minus B can be written as A intersection whatever is not in B. So whatever is not in B is everything outside the circle of B. Everything outside the circle of B. That whatever it has common with A will be A minus B. Or think of it this way. You have some, when you say A minus B, you remove all the elements of B from whatever is there in A. Okay. So for those who don't know, quick example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then B will be 4 and 6. Okay, what is A minus B?
1,
So
2,
B will
3,
be 2, 4,
5.
6.
1, 3, 5.
1, 3, 5. Excellent. Okay. All right. I hope everybody got this. Okay. This is for those who haven't revised this in a long time. All right. Next comes symmetric difference. What is symmetric difference here? So in symmetric difference, what do? It's A minus B along with B minus A. Okay. All right, guys. A minus B along with B minus A. So A minus B union B minus A is the symmetric difference. Do you understand why it's called symmetric difference? By looking at the figure?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
I have a doubt.
Please
So
ask.
what is the difference between A complement and A minus B? No, like why is it different? Because A complement is also
Okay. So A complement means whatever is not in A. Okay.
okay.
Right. A complement means you have a rectangle here, basically the Venn diagram. You have a circle here, which is A. A complement is whatever is outside A. Don't touch A, but everything outside A is included in A complement. Okay. The thing about A minus B is that actually what are you doing here? A is included. Okay. So B will have some portion inside A, which will be taken out of it. Okay. So A minus B is from inside A. Okay. A dash is fully outside it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I think I meant like B complement or something like that. Like whatever the elements which are not in A.
Okay. What's the difference between A complement and B minus A is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. So then this becomes B and this becomes A. So, okay. So the difference is the area outside the box.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So here the entire area outside the box is taken in the first case.
Oh.
All right. The second case, what happens is we don't take the entire area outside A. No. We are subtracting A from it. Yes. Which means we are not considering any element of A. That is true. But do we take all the elements outside A? No. Only the ones that are present in B. Okay. Actually, that was a very good question you asked. All right. I think it clarifies a lot of things here. But is it clarified for you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. You'll have to ask a lot of doubts. Don't thank me yet. Now, what is there? Okay, so let's discuss the remaining points here. A dash dash. What is this? A complements complement. So what do you think right now? Exactly. You have to see this image flipping between this and this. Okay. When I say A complements complement, first this lights up for A complement, and then this part lights up for A dash dash. Okay. Now, A union A dash. What is this?
U.
Correct. This is A. This is A. This is U. This is 5. Okay. Okay. One second. All right. What is A union A dash?
U.
Exactly. It's a universal set. Right. A intersection A dash?
Null set.
Null set. A intersection B dash? Guys, A intersection B dash?
A minus B.
Exactly. So just try to visualize it. Okay. So when I said intersection B dash, immediately try to draw a Venn diagram in your head. Put A there, put B there, remove everything in B, like as in everything outside B, and then find what is common with A. Okay. So that figure is nothing but the figure of A minus B. Alright, guys. Now, what is B intersection A dash?
B minus A.
B minus A. Exactly. Correct. Well done. Alright. Now, these are some basic properties. We'll just discuss them quickly. Okay. Commutative property. What is commutative property? So it's true for both intersection and union. Okay, the commutative property. So it's just that the order does not matter. Basically, A union B equal to B union A. Okay, when you take two at a time, the order does not matter. It means it's a commutative property. Okay, the commutative property is satisfied. Okay, so when the order does not matter, like 1 plus 3 and 3 plus 1 are the same, which means addition is commutative. Okay. Similarly, this one also, A union B is B union A, intersection B is B intersection A. Okay. Similarly, associative property is also there. Okay, 1 plus 3 plus 5 equal to 1 plus 3 plus 5. Did you understand this? So just like that, there's an associative property for intersection and union. Okay, both will be satisfied. Doesn't matter. So when you have 3 operators or more in a row, it doesn't matter which 2 you take first. That's the idea. Okay. Next, distributive property. Distributive property is something you must have learned before. A union, B intersection C. Okay, so now we have 3 circles in our Venn diagram. Okay. A, B, C. Distributive property is A union B intersection C. So B intersection C is here, and this you'll be plugging it with A. And this is same as what? You're distributing it between these elements. Okay, so look at this as A union B. Okay, intersection A union C. It's like you're removing the bracket. Just look at it that way. Okay, A union C. Okay, forgive the horrible handwriting, but I hope you're getting the point here. Okay, it's like removing the bracket. You're distributing it to each part. And the thing in the middle remains there itself. You've done this before, right? 5 into 1 plus 2. What do you write? 5 into 1 plus 5 into 2. That's the same idea. Okay. That is the distributive property. Next is the famous law, De Morgan's law. All right. Or how they say in Malayalam, De Morgan's law. Okay. So A union B dash equal to A dash intersection B dash. Okay. So this is actually pretty interesting. Like, what did you do here? You just converted this union into an intersection. Okay, that is why De Morgan's law is so useful. You converted a union into an intersection. That's basically what you did. Okay, and if you have A intersection B dash, you can write as A dash union B dash. You converted an intersection into a union and vice versa. Okay, this is where De Morgan's law is so useful. All right. So let's look at the picture of what happens here. A union B. Okay, so this is all commutative law. It doesn't matter if it's A or B, B or A. Okay. 1 second. You have to go to De Morgan's law. So A union B whole dash. So A union B, you know, right? So this circle is the universal set. Okay, just consider this circle to be the universal set. This big circle. All right. This one here will be the universal set. So A is here, B is here. A union B is this area, but what is not there in A union B? Everything outside that area. Okay, this can be taken as what? A dash. So think of the area outside A, think of the area outside B, and then bring them together. A dash intersection B dash. Because you shouldn't take the part from A and the part from B also. Because when I say A dash, there will be a part from B there. When I say B dash, there will be a part from A there. Those parts you should not take. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So far it's okay. 1 second. Okay, let's do this little question. 4 raised to n. Okay, you have x equal to 4 power n minus 3n minus 1, where n is a natural number. Okay, and then you have y equal to 9 into n minus 1, where n is again natural number. Okay, this is a set. Also a set. N is a natural number, is inside both the sets. Okay. Then what is x union y? What do you do here? Guys, come on, what do you do here? You will have to just find the roster form of this. That's what you do here. Okay, for each of these x and y, find the roster form. You can look at y and you can say that it will be nothing but the multiples of 9, including 0. Right? Guys, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Right. So just look at the set y. The set y is nothing but 9 into n minus 1, and n starts from 1 onwards. From 1, 2, and so on it goes. Okay. So y is nothing but 0, 9, 18, and 27, and so on. Okay, all multiples of 9 will be there. Okay. And x will be what? You have to put different values of n. So don't put more than 3 values of n. Okay. So x will be, the first value of n will be at n equal to 1, and that will become 0. What happens when n equal to 2? 64 minus, 16 minus 7, which is 9. What is n equal to 3?
40.
You get 64 minus 10, which is 54. Okay, and so on. You get 256 minus 13. Okay, you'll get 243. And so on. All right, so these are also multiples of 9. Okay. These are also multiples of 9. Okay, so here what happens is that x union y will be what?
Y.
Will be y itself, all multiples of 9. Okay. Another way of doing this is using binomial theorem. If you forgot, it's a quick refresher. 3 plus 1 and 4 raised to n. Okay. So there'll be NCR 3 raised to n minus r 1 raised to whatever, doesn't matter. Okay. So these terms will be added up together, right? So NC0 3 per n all the way up till NC n minus 1 3 plus NCn into 1. Okay. Here what happens is, okay, the term before this will be NC n minus 2 into 3 square. So from this term onwards, okay, from this term onwards, counting backwards, we will get all multiples of 9 added together. Everything will have 3 square. The term after that will have 3 cube, and so on. Okay. So I will write this as 9k plus, what is NC n minus 1? It's n itself into 3 plus 1. Guys, if you don't remember this, don't worry. I'll be covering this chapter again from scratch. Okay. But if you remember this, please use this as a refresher. Okay, this will be useful. All right. So 9k is the first part. This is 3n. This is 1. And in our question, we are subtracting 3n and 1 from this. Okay. To get x, you have to subtract 3n and 1. Okay. So you get a multiple of 9. Okay. Certain multiples of 9. Not all multiples of 9. You get certain multiples of 9. That is what you're getting here. Okay. I hope you're able to see both sides of the same question. Okay. Any doubts here, guys, with the binomial part? Please ask if there's anything. If you want me to increase the font size, also ask.
No doubt.
No doubt, sir.
No doubt. Huh? Okay. All right. So then we'll move into cardinality. Okay. So again, something you already know. Let me start drawing again. Okay. So n of A union B. Okay, let's look. Okay, let's look at the text here and we'll draw a diagram. Okay, so we are talking about A and B, so there are only two elements, A and B. N of A union B, what do you do? N of A is what you add first. And then what do you add next? N of
B.
B.
B. Okay. What's the problem here? You added N of A intersection B twice. Okay. This area has been added twice. So you remove it once. Okay. Then only you have N of A alone plus N of B alone plus N of A intersection B. Understood?
Yes, sir.
N of A alone as in only this part. Not by N of A, I meant n of A alone plus n of A intersection B. That's what I meant by n of A. Okay. By that definition, I hope you understood what we're doing. Okay, we are adding this part. We are adding this part and this part separately. That is our idea. For that, we take n of A, n of B, and subtract n of A intersection B. Now, n of A union B, okay, will be equal to n of A plus n of B in one case. When there is no overlap happening, when that A union B, A intersection B is 0. Okay. Are you following? When A intersection B is 5, sorry, not 0, then it is 5. When the cardinality of A intersection B is 0, that is when this will be equal to what? N of A union B will be n of A plus n of B. That's the only case when this can happen. Okay. Okay, because otherwise there'll be a number in between. N of A intersection B will always come in between. Okay. So this is done. N of A minus B. This is obvious, right? Is equal to n of A minus B. What do you do here? N of A minus B. You take A. You take n of A. And then what do you subtract from it? We only need this shaded area. Guys, you're making me feel lonely.
Intersection, sir.
But come again? Yeah, you have to remove the intersection. Correct. A intersection B is what you remove from this. Correct. Exactly. Now, what about A delta B? What do you do there? A delta B. So you know you have to cover only these side areas. The middle area you have to delete whatsoever. And you have to take n of A plus n of B anyway. Because this area to calculate the side areas, you need n of A and n of B. But then you have to remove n of A intersection B how many times? Twice. Okay. Each from A and from B. Is that clear, guys? If it's not clear, please tell me. We'll get to the bottom of it. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move ahead now. Now, A intersection B intersection C. Okay, this should be interesting. Okay, so n of A intersection B intersection C. All right. So here, what do I do here? So what happens if I add n of A plus n of B plus n of C? I'll divide into areas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. What am I trying to find here? N of A union B union C. Basically, I want to find area of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, right? This is what I'm trying to find, what it is. Okay. So when I do n of A plus n of B plus n of C, what am I doing here? I am adding 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus this thing for sure. But when I say A, I'm doing 1, 2, 4, 5. When I say B, I'm doing 2, 3, 5, 6. When I say n of C, what happens? I'm adding 7, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So you have to understand here. What am I getting here? I'm supposed to get area 1 plus area 2 plus area 3 exactly one time each. Okay. But instead, what I'm doing here is when I add these three, what I'm getting is I'm getting 1 plus 2 times what? Area 2 plus 2 times area 4 plus 2 times area 5 plus 3 times area 5 plus 2 times area 6 plus area 7 plus area 3. Yeah. Okay. So this is what you get. You have to remove the repetitions, right? Guys, are you following? You have to remove the repetition. Okay. So to remove repetition, 2 and 2 is there. Okay. The second one. There is 2 of this area 2. So what do? We have to remove this once. This also we have to remove once. This also we have to remove once. Okay. This area. So for that, what we incorporate is we subtract n of A intersection B. We subtract n of A intersection C. We subtract n of B intersection C. Are you following this? So when we subtract all of them once, what happens? We are removing 5 at this area 5 from this at the same time. Okay, each and every time we subtract one of these, we are removing 5 as well. Okay, so each time we subtract one, this is taken care of, this is taken care of, and this is also taken care of, area 6. But the problem is, this area number 5, is also removed 3 times. Okay, and that area goes missing here. So what do? We add that area again. All right, that is why I add the plus n of A intersection B intersection C. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, okay. Now, if they are asking questions like pointed questions, like in exactly 2 of the sets, number of elements in exactly 2 of the sets. All right. So, what are the areas we're talking about? Just look at the area number here. Tell me that. We are looking at areas. Number of elements in exactly 2 of the sets, guys. What are the areas we're looking at? You can see this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which are the areas am I talking? Which areas am I talking about?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No. We are looking only for the areas like that are there in exactly 2 sets. So we are looking at areas 2, 4, and 6. Are you following?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
These are present in exactly 2. Like 1, 3, 7 are present exactly in 1. 5 is present in all the 3. Okay. 2, 4, and 6 are present in exactly 2. Okay. So once you do that, what do you do next? You bring in the values. So to find 2, 4, and 6, what do? A intersection B, A intersection C, B intersection C. You add all of them up together. What's the problem with adding all of them up together? You unnecessarily add area 5 thrice, right? And how many times do we need area 5? How many times, guys?
3, sir.
Yeah, we need it 0 times. We don't need it at all. Okay, but we have it 3 times. Okay, so that's why I remove this minus like n of A intersection B intersection C thrice. Okay. All right. So what is the area that denotes the number of elements in exactly 1 of the sets? You're looking at 1, 3,
1,
7.
3, and 7.
Correct. Exactly. So how do we do that? So we add n of A plus n of B plus n of C. Okay. When you do that, what happens? There are 2 of 2s. There are 2 4s. There are 2 6s. And 3 5s. So we have to remove all of them together. Okay. So to remove the 2, 4, and 6s, what I do is minus n of A intersection B, n of B intersection C, n of A intersection C. All right, twice. And subtract all of them. But what's the issue with that?
5 is removed 3 times.
Exactly. That is removed how many times?
3 times.
Or 6 times? It's removed 6 times, right? You are subtracting 2 each time. Okay. minus 2 into A intersection B, minus 2 into B intersection C. Okay. So that 2 is what makes it 6 times. If you're removing just A intersection B, B intersection C, C intersection A once, you're using that 3 times, like you said. But there's a 2 into this. Okay. So that's why you're removing it 6 times. When I added A plus B plus C, I added it 3 times. Okay. I added it 3 times. And then when I remove 2 into this thing each time, I'm removing it 6 times. But how many do I need? I need 0. So what should come here? I have to add it 3 times. That's how 3 times this came. Is this clear, guys? I'm rushing through it because you've done this before. But is this clear?
Yes, sir.
If it's not clear, please ask. Okay. It is very easy, and I want all of you to understand this properly. Okay. Now, let's try one question. A class has 175 students. Okay. So, can you read the question now, right now? Is the question visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yeah, try solving the question. A class has 175 students. Number of students opting one or more subjects. So what are they saying here? One second. I'll draw the diagram. Okay. Finally, we are solving a problem. Class has 175 students. So we'll take the universal set as 175 items. Okay. So they're saying there's physics, chemistry, and math. Math has 100 students. Physics has 70 students. Chemistry has 40 students. When I say math has 100 students, I mean this entire circle math has 100 students. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You have to notice that when you add all of them up, 70, 100, 70, 140, you get 210, which is greater than 175. So there is some intersection happening inside. Clear? From there itself, you should be able to deduce. Okay. All right. It will be exactly A plus B plus C if they are all disjoint. Okay. But there are people who have taken multiple subjects at the same time. So that is what we are trying to find. Okay. So math and physics is 30. Math and physics is 30. Then math and chemistry is 28. Physics and chemistry is 23. All right. So what does, okay. And then physics, chemistry and math is 18. Okay. This is 18. Right. Okay. Number of physics, chemistry and math is 18. The question has been laid out on the board. Now, can you quickly solve it? What do we know here? We know that PCM is 18. Okay. So we know that math and physics together is 30. Did you get that? Math and physics together is 30. Basically, this highlighted portion should have 30 elements. What does that mean? Here there should be how many elements in this space?
12.
Exactly. All right. Now, maths and chemistry has how many? 28. So here there will be
10.
10.
Sir, is the answer 60?
We'll find out. I'm actually not sure. I'm solving it right now as we speak.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. No worry. So 18 is there. And then this area. What about this area? This is physics and chemistry. This will be 23. So there'll be 5 here. I'm just trying to solve the problem first. So math, I know the total is how much?
100.
100. What am I trying to find? How many students have opted for math alone? So this is what I'm trying to find. So I found this, right? I was actually wasting my time. I shouldn't have. Had I known I'm only looking for math, I wouldn't have even looked at this part. So I know that this full circle comes out to 100. 100 equal to 12, 18, 10 plus x. Okay. So x is equal to, yeah, you're right. It's 60. Who said the answer right now?
Sir, Srivatsan.
Srivatsan, huh? Yeah, correct, Srivatsan. Thank you. X is 60. All right. Let's try another quick question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So AT, BT. Okay, this question looks complicated, but it's frankly nothing. All right. Just try to understand the question first. All triangles will have three sides. So starting from a largest side to smallest side, we'll name them C, B, and A. Okay. All right. So they can be equal, but in a non-increasing order, it'll be C, B, and A. All right. So X is the triangle where the smallest two sides have the same length. All right. Y is a set of triangles where the largest two sides have the same length. Are you able to follow this in the question? Or are you getting scared looking at the question? What is happening?
I can understand.
No, sorry, come again.
I can understand, sir.
You cannot understand? Okay. The question is meant to confuse you. Okay, these questions are meant to scare you. Do not get scared looking at this question. Right. First, try to understand. If AT, BT, CT are lengths of three sides of a triangle T. Okay. So T means it's a triangle. It's not a number. It's not a value. It's nothing. It's a concept. Okay. T is just a T means triangle. All right. A of T, which means side A of T. Think like that. B of T, side B of T. C of T, side C of the triangle T. All right. The length of these sides in non-decreasing order, which means C refers to the largest length. B refers to second largest length. A refers to the smallest length. Did you understand this much? The basis of the question?
I understood, sir.
Okay. Now read the question again. All right. X is triangle T. Okay. All triangles such that A of T equal to B of T. What does that mean? The smallest two sides are the same. Okay. Y is B of T equal to C of T, which means the largest two sides are the same. So X and Y basically refers to what? Isosceles triangles. Okay. But it's in such a way that the shortest two sides are the same, the largest two sides are the same. Okay. All right. So the T is the set of all triangles possible. Okay. Now, what are they asking? Set of all equilateral triangles. How do we represent as a set, like using X, Y, and T? How do we do this? Set of all equilateral triangles. Equilateral triangle means, what is equilateral triangle?
All sides and all angles are equal.
All should be the same, right? All the sides should be same. Not just the biggest two sides and the smallest two sides. All of them should be same. So, if I take X intersection Y, what are we looking at? Are you understanding the idea?
B.
Yeah, X intersection Y is the set of all equilateral triangles. Are you understanding? Like what happens here is X is where the smallest two sides are the same. What does that mean? Smallest two sides are the same. Okay, so something like this. Smallest two sides are the same. Triangles from X will look like this. Triangles from Y will look like this. All right. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when okay, this is C, this is B and A. This is C, this is B, and smallest becomes A. Okay. So when these two are same, at the same time, B and C are also same. That's when you have an equilateral triangle, right? Okay. When B and C are same along with A, it means A equal to B equal to C. That's all. Okay. Which means you have an equilateral triangle. Now, how do you get an equilateral triangle? It should be isosceles this way along with isosceles this way. Did you understand the connection here?
Yes, sir.
Easy, right? It's doable. Okay. So that is why you say that when you combine both of these together, whatever is common to both, you get equilateral triangle. Next, the B part of the question is set of all isosceles triangle. Like any two sides are same. What do you do for that? Okay, this is X intersection Y. What about this one?
X union Y.
Exactly. You can be more confident about it. Why? Like even equilateral triangles are isosceles. It doesn't matter if they are common also. Okay. But there are other two types of isosceles triangles. One where the small sides are the same. Other where the larger sides are the same. There's no other kind of isosceles triangle, right? Is there?
No, sir.
No, right? Guys, I hope all of you are understanding. All right. Now, my next question. The set of all scalene triangles. How do you do this? Set of all scalene triangles.
So X union Y complement.
X union Y complement. Excellent. Well done. Well done. Okay. But the thing is, in our context, you're almost correct. Okay. It's not fully correct. It's almost correct. In our context, T is the set of all triangles.
T minus X union Y.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the right answer. Well done. Okay. Well done there. All right. So I'll just remove this part of this question. Not even printed correctly. One second. Okay. So look at the question and tell me the answer, no? Let's see how this went. Let A be a set with M elements and B be a set with N elements. And assume M less than N. Give maximum and minimum. Write the question down, please. This will be your homework question. For the next class, you come with this question solved. All right. Did you write the question down?
1 minute, sir.
Yeah. A has M. Don't copy it verbatim. A, M elements. B, N elements. Be smart with taking notes, okay? Don't waste time writing. All right. Be alert always. Okay. A, M elements. B, N elements. M less than N. Maximum, find max and min value of cardinality. N of A intersection B, N of A union B. Have you written that question?
Yes, sir.
Shall I move ahead? Quickly? Because there's one more question I want you to write. There's nothing to do with the syllabus, but I want you to solve this. Can you copy this question down? Whatever you see, just take a screenshot. You can see, right? There's some blanks and all I put.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just take a screenshot. Have you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this question has only one solution. Okay, this long division you see here, right? This is a proper division question only. This question has only one solution. Okay, so please try to find that. Okay, I'll assure you, you will have a lot of fun solving this if you're able to get it. It looks impossible, but don't worry. Students, like school students in Japan, solve this. Okay, it is not that tough. It is doable, but you'll have to think like a little extra, little out of the box. All right. We'll discuss this tomorrow. Don't worry. In the next class. Okay. So I hope you guys are pretty okay with sets. And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the classes coming soon. There's a lot to learn. And I hope all of you are ready to give in as much time as possible to practice, because that is most required. Okay. Concentrated effort is what will get you there finally. All right.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoy the session. Anyway, take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
These are fun.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.